I will never stop talking about Melanie Martinez. Melanie Martinez is a unique artist and you probably heard of her before. She is the girl with split dyed hair that is famous for wearing baby doll dresses and vintage aesthetic and having this cutesy image to her. Melanie Martinez's career started when she was a teenager performing at the talent show The Voice, and ever since then she's been gaining more and more popularity and fans every single day. There's just no way that you've never heard of Melanie Martinez. That just shows how much of a revolutionary artist she is. And even if you're not really familiar with her art and her music, by just looking at pictures of her, you can just tell that there is no one in the world like her, and she was destined to become famous, especially for her aesthetic. You see, Melanie Martinez has a very specific style to her. Like I said, she's very famous for wearing a lot of baby doll dresses and kind of coquette style, as well as her unique makeup and unique hair. But she's also famous for controversy of this exact style. A controversy that is so disgusting and so strange that you just cannot ignore it. A controversy that makes you question, how did Melanie Martinez get away with all of those things for so long? And how did no one notice terrible, horrible things that were happening in plain sight? What if behind all this cute and pink aesthetic, Melanie Martinez is trying to hide her darkest secret? In the past, I already made like 2 videos about Melanie Martinez. Except back then, I talked about very specific discussions and situations, and I specifically focused on those specific things. But this time, I would like to combine everything I know and talk about the entire era of Melanie Martinez, from which all the controversy comes from. And I will also talk about things that for some reason nobody has ever talked about before. And I will explain everything I know in great detail. Because this video just had to be made. And since no one else on YouTube is talking about this, I will do it. So with that, let's dive deeper into the most controversial era of Melanie Martinez. Hi! Before we start, just a quick disclaimer that in this video, I will talk about topics that are written over here. And if these topics make you uncomfortable in any way, remember that you can always just close the video and take care of yourself. And for those of you who choose to stay, I would just like to say that I'm not trying to promote hate towards anything or anyone that will be mentioned in this video. And I actually used to be a fan of Melanie Martinez ever since I was 10 years old, but I stopped supporting her a long while ago. So please just listen to what I'm about to say and take it as you will. So, everything started when Melanie Martinez released her first album in 2015. Like I mentioned before, she was on The Voice and she got so many opportunities from it. Participating in The Voice actually helped for her to sign with a record label, with Atlantic Records. And after that, she gained so much support, she was ready to release her first big project. Her first album is called Crybaby because it tells the story of a girl named Crybaby because she always cries. And this character is a child going through hardships of an adult life. Melanie decided to name the character Crybaby because she herself was bullied for being too emotional before, and so she decided to turn an insult that her bullies said, Crybaby, into a compliment and made an entire character based off of that.
Basically, I wanted to name my album Crybaby because when I was younger I was made fun of for, being super over emotional and kind of, crazy, and so, I wanted to kind of turn the word crybaby into a compliment.
All the CDs and records contain this little insert telling more about the story of Crybaby. Every single song on the album tells the story of Crybaby in order from growing up to falling in love to being rejected and realizing how cruel the society and people around her are. And I'm going to read you this little insert to let you know more about this Crybaby character. Not long after Crybaby was born, her mother labeled her as Crybaby because of her excessively loud crying. Her brother then writes Crybaby on her birth certificate, taking his mother's comment literally. At home, when Crybaby's mother attempts to feed her, she throws a tantrum and hallucinates her toys coming after her. That night, Crybaby is restless, but so is her mother, who catches her husband with another woman. She ties both of them up and stabs them to death, presumably under the influence of alcohol. After Crybaby discovers her father and his mistress' bodies, her mother drugs her to make her forget what she saw. Crybaby later enters a relationship with a boy that she meets at a carnival and that she later referred to him as Alphabet Boy. The relationship is very one-sided and constantly causes Crybaby to feel like she will never catch up to love. Crybaby soon realizes that this relationship is toxic and breaks up with him. She wishes to prove to him how tough she is and becomes aggressive, attacking her household items with a knife, hoping he can see her. Crybaby later meets another boy, but is incredibly nervous about interacting with him. She says so many embarrassing things, as hinted in the lines, "Oh, oh, there it goes. I said too much, it overflowed. Why do I always spill?" She is afraid to say that she loves him in case he is not as the same stage as her, and he does not love her back. Crybaby and a boy named Johnny get into a relationship, and Crybaby decides to take her relationship to the next level. Crybaby throws a birthday party to which no one, including Johnny, arrives. This causes her to completely destroy her house and an insane rampage, which she later seems to regret. Then, Crybaby breaks up with Johnny. Alone and insecure, she goes shopping, and an ice cream truck appears outside of the store. The cashier seems to take this as a bad omen and hands Crybaby a bottle of poison as she leaves. Crybaby stops by ice cream truck, which is run by a wolf. This is most likely a metaphor for disguised predators. The wolf drugs her ice cream and drives off with her. The wolf orders Crybaby to make him milk and cookies at this lair. Although initially terrified, Crybaby eventually becomes crafty as it means to escape. She uses the poison handed to her by the cashier and poisons the cookies. She then watches as the poison begins to take effect and leaves the room, escaping the wolf's house. After escaping, Crybaby attempts to invite her friend over. Her friend, Blue Boy, is in a relationship with the girl Crybaby calls Basic Bitch. Crybaby knows that Blue Boy does not seem happy and decides to make him like her. She is unsuccessful after Basic Bitch wins him over by showing him her breasts. Now aware that attractive bodies have a great effect on boys, Crybaby begins to grow self-conscious. After seeing many beauty ads on TV, she believes her hair needs to be a different color, she has to be thinner, she has to have bigger breasts in order to be loved. However, after seeing Miss Potato Head's story on TV, Crybaby reaches the epiphany that she's perfect the way she is, and there is nothing that she needs to change. Later, Crybaby decides to try smoking, but finds one of her mother's drinks in her room. Crybaby drinks the liquid, which causes her to hallucinate people with all black eyes standing around her bed. Crybaby passes out, has a dream representing her self-reflection, and how she has learned to love herself despite the fact that she goes a bit crazy sometimes. So as you can tell, Crybaby is literally a child going through so many crazy things. What do you mean your mother is an alcoholic, your father is cheating on your mother, then you get kidnapped by a wolf in an ice cream truck that tries to poison you? And she went through so many heartbreaks and realizations about the society. It's literally crazy. What kind of lore is this? It just shows how traumatic the life of Crybaby is. And this is just a reminder that this is a child character. This is what Crybaby officially looks like in this entire story. As you can see, she kind of looks like a toddler because she is a toddler, and this is her childhood story. All the characters in it are kids. There's also a coloring book dedicated to this album that was sold as an official merch. Coloring book illustrated all the lyrics, all the songs on the album, all the experiences that Crybaby had to go through that I just told you. They were just drawn in little pictures in this cute art style. This coloring book was sold to many fans and they could color it as they pleased. However, there was an official art made by an artist that showed like the correct way, the correct color hair, the correct color dresses. Like it was just separate illustrations turned into a coloring book. And one illustration in particular raised so many questions and discussions lately. an illustration for the song Soap. It was the one about her falling in love with a guy named Johnny and being too scared to talk to him. So she feels like she literally needs to wash out all the words, all the complaints, all the questions out of her mouth with soap. In the picture for this song, Crybaby is drawn in a bathtub eating soap, like literally a bar of soap. And by the way, the song literally contains lyrics like, I feel it coming out my throat, guess I better wash my mouth out with soap. God, I wish I never spoke, now I gotta wash my mouth out with soap. I think I got myself in trouble, so I fill the bath with bubbles, then I put the towels all away. Should have never said the word love, threw a toaster in a bathtub. I'm sick of all the games I have to play. I'm tired of being careful, tiptoe, trying to keep the water warm. Let me under your skin. Oh, there it goes. I said too much, it overflowed. Why do I always spill? And now you probably understand better how this is literally an interpretation of those lyrics. It's literally drawn out exactly what Melanie is singing about. This is Crybaby. She's in a bathtub filled with a lot of bubbles and she's eating soap. However, do you notice something weird about this picture? Do you feel like there is something a little so off-putting about the way Crybaby looks at us? Because I certainly do. Why does a child looking character has a face portrayed like this? And why are her feet at the front view? I don't want to look at them. Why are you showing her feet in my face? There are so many other ways that you can portray a child in a bathtub without it looking as weird as it does right now. You know, she could just take a bite out of the soap. Why does she have to shove it in her throat? Why is she crying? Why is she looking up? Why are her eyebrows raised? This is a suggestive facial expression, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm so sorry. I understand how it connects to the song, but it's the way Crybaby is drawn. It's the way her face, her feet. I'm so sorry, but the artist had to do it on purpose. On a very sinister purpose. That is a character who is a child, or at least looks like a child. I don't even know what you should be thinking about to make her face and this whole entire illustration to look like that. And this has been a very popular discussion on TikTok lately. And so many people on TikTok showed how exactly you can portray a child in a bathtub without it looking weird. You can easily fix this image and make it instantly look so much better and so much less sexual.
Since some of y'all cannot stretch your imagination to portray a kid in an appropriate manner, I just drew it for you. Now, in no way am I an artist, so please don't judge it, but this is what I came up with for a better alternative to the current artwork she has. Clearly it's way more appropriate. She's fully clothed, she's doing an appropriate facial expression, no toes, no nothing. The soap is here, taking a bite mark out of it to imply that she washed her mouth out with soap, just like in the song. Here's the bubbles. And here she's also filling up the bath with bubbles, just like it says in the song. I also added the letters that spell out soap, and since the meaning of the song is, I believe, about like saying things you regret and wanting to take it back, I filled up the bath with bubbles and letters to imply that. I can think of many different ways to portray the song Soap in an appropriate manner, unlike what Melanie did. She clearly didn't put enough thought and care into it, and it didn't come out the best way.
You had to make Crybaby's face like this with creepy intentions. You had to have this creepy idea in mind. I think it's important to say that Melanie Martinez did not draw any of those illustrations. It was made by another artist. The first page of the coloring book literally gives credits to the artist, but it also says that the artwork idea was conceived by Melanie Martinez, which means that all illustrations were done by the plan made by Melanie. But still, don't you find it weird that Melanie certainly had to approve them and look through them and maybe even commission them? And she looked at this illustration and saw nothing weird about it. And like, fine, if she had to check it and approve it, maybe it was her label that was approving it and looking at it. And remember that there is also a possibility that she specifically commissioned for the illustrations to look that way and align with her songs, so she could have actively participated in how this coloring book would look. She is the artist after all. She is asking for illustrations. What if she specifically asked for Crybaby to be drawn that way? But we will will never know her true intentions and what actually happened. It is the fact that this is a coloring book that is selling out to fans when it should not be sold and promoted because it's literally a child portrayed sexually. But maybe right now you think that I'm just crazy and I'm exaggerating everything and it's not a big deal at all. And maybe you don't even see anything weird about the picture. But let me just remind you that this is a deep dive and we are just getting started. And there is so many more situations that we will discuss that will eventually make you question the true intentions of Melanie Martinez and this whole Crybaby aesthetic. Because it is so much more creepy and questionable than you think it is. The whole aesthetic of Melanie Martinez is those cute, puffy baby doll dresses. In the era when she was touring with the album Crybaby, she kind of looked like a doll and was always dressed in clothes and had some things in the background when she was touring on her stage that were related to children and kids in some ways. It could be like an item, like an installation of alphabet cubes, like little toys. And in that era also she used to do those photo shoots that referenced the story of Crybaby and were made for promoting the album. But there is this one problem about all of these photos that nobody is talking about, and nobody ever noticed anything weird about those. So I was scrolling on the internet and I was googling all the photo shoots of Crybaby era, and I found some pictures that I just have to show you guys because you have to see this. Nobody else ever brought this up. So at first when you look at this picture, you may just see a very aesthetic photo that definitely aligns with the album and Crybaby and the whole story of this album. But I just have one question. Why is she wearing a nude underwear? Literally nothing else but underwear while portraying a child and holding a pacifier in her mouth. I feel like holding items that strictly associate with children and are made for children while being half naked does not go along well. It should not be combined at all. And while you may still argue that it's probably not for Crybaby, maybe it's just a photo shoot for Melanie herself, it doesn't say anywhere that it's just Crybaby, like this is the character, this is the toddler, and this is me being Crybaby. Maybe it's just a photo shoot about Melanie herself. Maybe it's not related to Crybaby. But tell me, why would you willingly choose to pose this way and wear nothing but underwear while holding a pacifier in your mouth, even if it's not for promotion of the album but just a photo shoot of Melanie? Why would she do that? I'm even scared to ask, if it's not for Crybaby, then what else those pictures could be for. I honestly don't want to know. It's just the way she poses, the way she's holding a pacifier. It's just I can't look at it. I can't. Like, I literally cannot. Like, it's just so weird to look at it. Like, I don't want to. Like, I just want to close my eyes. Like, I don't want to see this. It seems so inappropriate. It's like I'm looking at something that I'm not supposed to see. And it's not the only picture that I want to talk about. This picture. Why is Melanie wearing a see-through apron with a bra underneath? You know, an apron made specifically for children during feeding time so they don't spill the food all over themselves, their clothes, and everything else. An item made specifically for children to wear. And then, boom, a bra. Why? Why? Literally, why? And this is very clear that this is the photo shoot made to promote the Crybaby album, because on the apron, it's a custom apron that literally says Crybaby on it, and she's wearing a wig and she's wearing makeup to portray Crybaby. But was making an apron see-through necessary, and was styling the see-through apron with a bra that necessary? This gives off such a weird and creepy idea. You are meant to portray a character who is a child, looks like a child, looks like a toddler, and you are wearing a bra and showing that you're wearing a bra. Sometimes I just really can't help but think that all those photo shoots were meant for weirdos. And of course, you can argue so many points about this, like, what if she was made to wear this outfit? What if she didn't want to? What if I'm just making everything up and I'm just overreacting and it's not a big deal? But she clearly did not have to wear a bra. There is a picture from the same photo shoot where she is wearing a tank top why couldn't she wear a tank top under a see-through apron? Like, it's so obvious that she did it on purpose. It's a see-through apron, so she wore a bra underneath it to make sure it shows that she's wearing a bra and she's showing off her chest. She also styled this apron with just a normal long sleeve shirt. That was a conscious choice of hers to do this and to portray this character and herself in that particular way. And you know what? Maybe it was not just for aesthetic purposes. Maybe it was for a much, much sinister purpose. During this era, Melanie Martinez uses items that are made for kids and associate with children constantly. Like, there's also a photo shoot of her holding a sippy cup. The difference between this photo and this photo is that I can definitely tell that this is literally the portrayal of the song called Sippy Cup. It tells the story of Crybaby's mom being an alcoholic, and so the sippy cup symbolizes an alcoholic addiction. And I can understand and see what she means by those pictures and why she's holding a sippy cup. And she's also not dressed suggestively at all. But something that I don't understand about Melanie Martinez with this era is that she constantly had a necklace with a pacifier on it during this era. Outside of her Crybaby character, outside of all her tours, she like always had pacifiers in her mouth. There's just so many like casual selfies of Melanie Martinez having this pacifier thing, just herself, her, Melanie Martinez, not Crybaby, Melanie Martinez, a grown woman holding a pacifier in her mouth. She like carried it everywhere on a necklace. And there is also more pictures of the same photo shoots that we just discussed about her being in underwear, but this time without a bra, covering her chest with a teddy bear, sitting in just underwear. I have a teddy bear. And the difference between me and Melanie Martinez is I'm a 16 years old teenager, and that was a 20-year-old grown woman consciously posing with a teddy bear like this on multiple instances and multiple photo shoots, using a teddy bear to cover up her chest, portraying a child. And I'm guessing, children when they're very young, they don't wear bras, like they just run around in diapers. So maybe this is where she was going. But I'm sorry, this is just so weird. This is so weird. And and since we talked about the coloring book, which was the merch for this era, officially in her line of merch for Crybaby era, with items that fans could buy and were promoted to fans to support Melanie Martinez, like t-shirts, sweatshirts, and everything. In this merch line, apart from the weird coloring book, she had a necklace with a pacifier on it, almost the same one that she wore herself. So she literally promotes this behavior. Hey, there's nothing wrong with holding a pacifier in your mouth at all times. Buy this item because you love me so much. Hey, go buy my necklace with a pacifier, carry it around everywhere because it's just so cute. You will be just like me. And it's totally not dangerous and not gonna give strangers and weirdos a weird image of you, especially if you're just a teenage fan. Oh my god, like I literally cannot. I later in the video we will talk in much greater detail about how Melanie Martinez promotes dangerous ideas to her audiences. But it's not just the photo shoots. It's not just the merch line. Music videos too. You see, in a music video for Pacify Her, and the music video shows a kid, Crybaby, being put in a nursery where she meets Blue Boy and Basic Bitch. That's literally the name of the character, I'm not saying it myself. And Crybaby and Blue Boy starts to get along, she starts to joke around, show herself off, but he is in love with Basic Bitch, and she is constantly there. And Crybaby is trying her absolute best, showing some weird, creepy things, like literally taking off her head off her shoulders just to get his attention. But what bothers me about this music video is that at the end, at the very end, Crybaby and Blue Boy start crawling to each other, symbolizing how Blue Boy finally likes Crybaby. And they're about to kiss, they're about to be together. But then, Basic Bitch stands in front of Blue Boy and takes off her shirt. A character who is a child takes off her shirt and shows her chest to another child character. And then Blue Boy, seeing all of this, gets so mesmerized and leaves Crybaby alone at a nursery and goes away with Basic Bitch. And Crybaby is left alone crying. And it's supposed to symbolize how Crybaby realizes that boys, they don't like people and women for their character. They love them just for their bodies. But it is a child character. They are in a nursery. I've never seen an adult sitting in a nursery. This is clearly a place meant for children, and all the people in it are children, even though they're portrayed by Melanie Martinez as an adult. They symbolize children. They are dressed like children. And this toddler is exposing her chest. If you ever meant to portray this action, you did not have to put those characters in a nursery. You could have made them like older. And I understand both of those characters are being portrayed by Melanie. Yes, Crybaby and Basic Bitch are both played by Melanie. And she's an adult. But this is a child character. It's the context behind those characters and their age rather than Melanie. And if this discussion wasn't enough to convince you that Crybaby era is actually pretty weird and we didn't notice it before, let me just tell you a groundbreaking fact. Melanie Martinez used to buy her clothes from an H player slash H regressor clothing line, specifically ABDL clothing line. ABDL stands for Adult Baby Diaper Lover. And as you can tell by the name, it's insanely creepy and it does have sexual context. It is a community for adults who like to roleplay and dress up as children and often like to wear diapers. For whatever the hell reason, but usually it does have sexual undertones. She bought the dress from the Pacify music video, that blue dress that I showed to you. It was bought from an Etsy shop that was called My Binkies and Bows, and clearly in the description it said that it's ABDL clothes made for a BDL community. And in case Melanie Martinez cannot read, when you go through the dresses of My Binkies and Bows, some dresses have text in them. And you know what that text says? Love my diapers. Bedwetter in training. This can clearly let you know that, hey, this is so weird. Like, this is a weird clothing line. I should not be buying from it unless I support it. And it also goes with like underwear to it too. Like if I didn't know the context, I would think that this is like a dress for a child. But no, it's actually adult sized for adults. And it's not the only time that she purchased the dress from this community. She actually also bought this dress that she went on tours with, and there's multiple pictures of her singing to the entire crowd in it. So she bought the dress one time, didn't think anything about this website on Etsy, was weird, and she decided, I'm gonna buy another one. Guys, they literally put a picture of Melanie on their Etsy site to show off the dress, like she actually bought it. Like it's not fake, this is proof. I think it's important to point out that her style, her entire aesthetic, is specifically targeted to look like a child. Like it's specifically about wearing clothing that belongs to children and is associated with children. It is not coquette, it is not Japanese Lolita, it is not vintage. It's strictly children and kids aesthetics. Baby doll dresses in the context of, oh, I want to look like a child. Sabrina Carpenter wears baby doll style dresses in an adult way, in a fashion way, in a vintage way. All her outfits were not brought from any of the fetish or whatever the hell shops. This is just normal vintage style clothing. And Sabrina Carpenter is not trying to portray herself as a child by wearing those baby doll dresses. She actually tries to portray herself as a grown woman, talking about grown woman subjects. In comparison to Melanie Martinez, who does the exact opposite. Melanie Martinez is not stupid. She can read, she can understand. And it doesn't just say ABDL in description, it describes what ABDL is. So she can clearly read the context behind this Etsy shop and still consciously choose to buy dresses from it. Decides to associate herself with these kinds of people, with these kinds of community, and basically demonstrated. She basically promotes this dress that belongs to this community to her large fan base by wearing it. And then her fans go ahead and order the exact same dress to be just like Melanie without knowing the dangers of the community they bought the dress from, and they probably don't even know what this is all about. And this is where I begin to question, does Melanie Martinez associate herself with age regressing, age play, or any of those things? Maybe this entire album is a way for her to express herself freely as an age regressor. This is why she tries to portray herself as a child, right? Maybe there's a possibility of that. Melanie Martinez said herself that she is not an age regressor. She does not try to do this in this way. But all of her actions cannot help but raise my eyebrows because I get a completely different idea from all those pictures. I don't know if you guys are understanding the point that I'm trying to make, but this is certainly not a normal behavior. This is not something casual that I see pop artists do. Like, in my opinion, it's definitely questionable. I don't see any excuse for that. Melanie, just in general, is known as a pop artist who mixes childish aesthetic with extremely dark subjects. She spoke up in her songs about issues like SA, child abuse, kidnapping, like all of that I just told you before. Just general traumatic experiences. And what she does during this era and with this album is that she puts out all those horrible traumatic experiences that people go through that change them mentally for the rest of their life, wrapped in this cute pastel pink baby doll, cute makeup, cute hair, oh my god, cute baby doll dresses aesthetic with nursery rhymes and fun beats. Contradictory to popular assumptions and beliefs, Melanie Martinez actually did not experience any of those things at all. Like, yes, of course, everyone experienced heartbreak and everyone experienced like realizing that boys only love you for your body, but she had a great childhood. She didn't experience childhood abuse. She was not kidnapped. She was not essayed. None of those things ever happened to her.
Like, my family life's so different than hers, so I had a really great childhood, and like my family's super supportive and always has been, so very different. And in Crybaby story, her mom is an alcoholic and her father is cheating on her mom with someone else.
This is not her trying to show her own trauma and trying to find comfort and support from people who went through this as well. She herself says that she makes songs for awareness of the subject. She makes this type of music and this type of songs because there are people who go through trauma and they need music to relate. She even uses her friends' experiences for her songs.
For example, I had a great family life, but I had friends who didn't, have the same situation at home, and it's really important for people, even if it's not like a huge group of people in the world who have these issues, like they still need music to connect to.
And listen, sure, you don't have to be a victim of something to say that this issue is happening and it's bad and I'm against it. And you don't have to experience it to speak up about it in your art. It's the way Melanie Martinez does it. Melanie's lyrics about some of issues seem to have a double meaning, and oftentimes they even romanticize those issues. They often show those traumatic experiences and something that is not normal as like,
oh my god, like I'm so in love with my teacher, like that's totally normal, like oh my god, yes, I love predators.
she romanticizes experiences that real people, go through in real life, real things that are happening. And it's unsurprising that she fails every single time because she never had to go through this. She never experienced any of the things you experienced. She will never understand this thing that you went through. She basically uses all those traumatic experiences to collect all the vulnerable people and make them think that she understands them and comfort them, or just to purely make money. She targets all the people with traumatic lives, lures them in, and goes like, hey, I know you went through this. I made a song to make people aware of this experience. You should buy my merch. You should buy my album. You should listen to my music just because I talk about this thing. And it doesn't matter that I don't know what I'm talking about and it's actually pretty bad. As long as I talk about it, then I'm a hero and I will save you. And not to even mention that she herself has SA allegations from multiple people, which could potentially mean that she herself puts the trauma on people and traumatizes people. But of course, those are allegations, and I already spoke about it in this video. So if you want to know all the details of it, you should check it out. This video is not about it. In this video, I'm only focusing on Crybaby era. And you know, a lot of Melanie Martinez fans are young teens and even children with difficult lives that can totally relate and see themselves in those songs. It's like, oh my god, Melanie Martinez understands how I feel. She made this song about something that bothers me so much and makes me go crazy. She made this to support me. She gets me. She wants to make me feel better. She is my idol for this. But in reality, Melanie Martinez does not care about your trauma. She does not understand you. She does not understand how you feel. She never cared about you and your trauma in the first place. All she cared about is making money and profiting off of it. Or maybe she wanted to portray her dark fantasy of children going through terrible things. And of course, make some money in the process. Eventually, what's happening is that you're being lured into Melanie Martinez fandom as a kid, thinking it's a safe space for you where you will find other teenagers and teens that can relate to you and you all will connect and heal your trauma. In reality, it is not safe. It ends up being way more dangerous to you. And you know, this entire situation sucks so much. And there is a reason why I will never stop talking about it. It's because there is no other artist that is just like Melanie Martinez. Nobody, unfortunately, can replace her. So I completely understand all the fans being attached to Melanie and wanting to defend her and obsessing over her. I completely understand. That was her purpose for making this music, to make you obsessed and feel like she understands you. And I understand other fans that know about this controversy and try to ignore it, distance themselves, and kind of be in denial, like, oh my god, how could she do this? I trusted Melanie Martinez. She saved my life. How could she do this to me? As an ex-fan of Melanie Martinez myself, I feel so betrayed because her music literally saved me at the hardest moment of my life. But at the end of the day, you can always separate the art from the artist. There are ways to listen to artists that has done horrible things, to not support them financially at all, but still listen to their music. And I will never judge you if you still like her music, or maybe even her aesthetic, because Crybaby era was just one era. She has many other eras where she doesn't do as creepy things. I just want to say thank you. If you are a fan and you consciously choose to watch my videos and educate yourself on this subject, nobody is perfect. Artists can do horrible things, and there's no point of trying to make an excuse of some things that are being brought up reasonably. You have to be able to look at all these different perspectives without feeling obligated to defend Melanie just because you're so attached to her and she saved your life. Of course, at the end of the day, I could be reaching for something that is not there. I could make mistakes. Everything I say is my alleged perspective on this. But I think that specifically Crybaby era of Melanie Martinez is the most controversial era in her lifetime, and it definitely makes me think that there was some sinister undertones to some things that happened during this era. And there are some things that I just don't have any other explanation for. But of course, I could be wrong about everything. At the end of the day, I don't have any proof. But that's just my opinion. And if you have a different one, you can always express it in my comment section. If you just feel like you really have to say something about all my claims and this entire situation and all the music videos, photo shoots that I showed, you are always welcome to do that in my comments. I would love to read you guys' opinion on this because I feel so gross right now. I will please ask you to subscribe to my channel and my other social media that are linked in description if you're interested in this type of content and if you like me. And I will additionally ask you to like this video or not. I don't really care. And now, bye!